Okay, before installing Ionic, make sure to have Node version 6 or higher. So on my machine, you can see I'm running Node version 6.9.1. Okay, now we need to install the latest version of Ionic and Cordova. So npm install -g Ionic and Cordova. This is going to take a little while, so I'm going to pause the recording. So this will install Ionic command line interface. So we can run Ionic --version. You can see currently I'm using Ionic version 2.1.17. We also have another command, Ionic info, which shows the version of Ionic and various related components on our machine. Here you can see I'm using Cordova CLI version 6.4.0. Alright, now that Ionic CLI is ready, we can start a new Ionic project by executing Ionic start. Let's call this hello world. And I'm going to use a blank project template. Here we have a few different project templates. So if you want to build an application that has tabs, you can type tabs here. But in this section, I'm going to start with a blank project template because I want to write all the code from scratch. And then be sure to add --v2. Otherwise, this will create an Ionic 1 project, which is based on Angular 1. All right, now this is going to download a bunch of packages. Okay, now our project is ready, so cd hello world. And then we run Ionic serve. So this is going to build our application and then host it on a development server on localhost port 8100. So you see we have a very basic page with a navigation bar, Ionic blank, with a couple of paragraphs here. Now here we have live reload, which means this Ionic CLI is watching our files for changes, and anytime it detects changes, it will rebuild our app and reload it in the browser. So here in VS Code, I'm going to go to source, pages, and home.html. Now don't worry if this project structure looks unfamiliar to you, I'm going to explore it in a second. So let's make a simple change here. I'm going to rename Ionic blank to hello world. Save. You can see Ionic detected my change and rebuilt the application. Now in this case, rebuilding was very fast because I only changed an HTML template. If you modify a TypeScript file, it's going to take a little bit more time. And here back in the browser, you can see our application is automatically reloaded. All right, now let's see what we have in this project. The main folder that you'll be using most of the time is this source folder. So this is basically our Angular app. Here we have app folder, where we have our app component and app module, as well as a couple of TypeScript files for development and production environment. Below that, we have assets. So if you want to put any icons, images, text files, whatever, you put them here. Then for each page in our application, we have a separate folder. So here we have only one page, which is called home. And by convention, inside each page folder, we have 3 files. An HTML file, which is our template, a SCSS file, which is basically a modern CSS, and finally a TypeScript file, which is our Angular component. Below that, we've got theme. And here we have a file for declaring some variables that determine the look and feel of our application, like the colors, fonts, padding, and so on. We're going to explore this in more detail throughout this section. So this is our source folder. Now below that, we have ... So this is the result of compilation of our application. This project uses Webpack to build our Angular app. And the result you see here is stored in the build folder. So here we have main.css and main.js, which is the result of compilation of our Angular app. We also have this assets folder. So anything that we put in source assets will get automatically copied across this folder. So when we load our application using Ionic serve, essentially this folder is loaded in our web server.